available before being claimed by tax. Turn your attention inward, not emotionally, practically, toward what needs doing. The list isn't heavy today, it's just there, waiting without pressure. Minutes connect cleanly, one lead into the next. Nothing slipping, nothing colliding. The room feels responsive, like it adjusts as you move within it. Light shifts slightly across the desk, never distracting, never fading. Thoughts short and naturally becoming instructions rather than questions. No decision feels final, no action feels forced. The day remains flexible. A working rhythm forms quietly, holding attention in place. A working rhythm forms, easy to return to again. Sounds repeat softly, supporting continuity without demanding focus. Time moves forward without resistance. Outside stays distant, behind glass, inside stays engaged and clear. Focus feels available, not intense, not fragile, just present. The rhythm becomes familiar, something you can step into without thinking too much. The day has already chosen its pace. You step into it without resistance, without rush. Resume the task where it paused, no need to restart everything. Time accepts continuation without question. It moves forward when you do. The room feels feels responsive, like it adapts as you move within it. The air feels balanced, neither jazzy nor dull, just usable. Thoughts stay narrow but flexible, allowing adjustment without distraction. The moment feels expandable, room to continue, room to slow down if needed. Nothing presses, nothing pulls too hard. No sense of catching up, no fear of falling behind. The pace exists, already continue without rushing. Let progress accumulate, continue without rushing, so the flow can hold. Sounds repeat softly, supporting continuity through repetition. Time remains cooperative, outside moves freely, inside stays engaged. Separation feels helpful. Focus does not peak, it stays even, making room for duration. Momentum spreads out rather than rising, making it easier to maintain. The work stays unfinished but stable, the rhythm remains usable. Nothing closes yet, the day keeps offering time. Time continues evenly, without markers, without signals, just motion. Stay with what you are doing, not to finish it, but to remain inside the process. The task feels familiar now, less demanding, more cooperative than before. The room adapts quietly to continued focus. The air stays balanced and clear. Thoughts come and go without interruption. Used when helpful, then released. The moment feels expandable, able to hold more time without pressure. Time becomes background, something you no longer track but rely on. No urgency forms, no hesitation lingers. The rhythm exists already. Stay in this motion without naming it. Let attention remain light. Stay in this motion, so effort does not accumulate. Sounds repeat predictably, providing continuity rather than focus. Time stays consistent, outside keeps moving, inside remains composed. something you trust without checking. The work does not close, the rhythm continues. Nothing resolves here, the pace remains usable beyond this moment. Time feels stretched, but usable. The room holds attention without effort. Continue from the middle, not the start, not the end, just here. The task no longer exists, 'cause you're already inside it. Movement feels natural and steady. The desk feels grounded, the chair supports your posture. The air remains balanced, enough to think clearly. Thoughts shorten, becoming instructions rather than questions, easy to follow. Nothing feels delayed, nothing feels rushed. The moment allows consistency. Time becomes background rather than something to watch, something that moves with you. No adjustment needed, no correction required. The pace exists already. Hold the middle ground between effort and ease. Hold the middle ground so focus can last. Sounds repeat softly, maintaining continuity without emphasis. Time moves forward smoothly. Outside keeps its distance, inside stays active. The boundary helps attention stay in place. Focus does not peak, it levels out, becoming easier to maintain. The rhythm stabilizes into something dependable, easy to remain within. The task stays open, the structure holds, nothing closes yet. The work remains possible for as long as needed. The room stays active even as time stretches. Nothing signals an ending, nothing asks for change. Continue at the same distance from effort, from urgency. Let the balance remain. quickly pauses between actions, waiting for the next. The desk feels unchanged, the air feels consistent, energy stays available without demand. Thoughts remain practical, focused on process rather than progress or results. The moment feels stable, capable of holding more work if needed. Time does not announce itself, it moves quietly, supporting motion in the background. No reason to adjust, no reason to stop. The pace stays usable. Keep moving at this level without adding weight. Let attention stay open. Keep moving at this level so the rhythm can continue. Sounds repeat softly, maintaining structure without emphases. Time remains cooperative. Outside stays unrelated, inside stays aligned. The separation continues to help. Focus does not narrow, it stays even, allowing duration without strain. A moment feels settled, something that does not need attention to exist. The task remains unfinished but steady. The rhythm holds, nothing concludes here. The work stays possible for as long as needed. The room is already awake before the work begins. Light sits evenly across familiar surfaces. Sit down without thinking too much, let the chair support your weight. The desk feels unchanged, reliable in its place. Time starts arranging itself, not in a hurry, not waiting, just lining up. The air feels clear enough to stay alert, not sharp, not heavy. Thoughts don't arrive all together, they come one by one, each one usable, each one brief. The screen stays quiet before anything loads. The moment feels open and unclaimed. Nothing asks for energy, yet nothing pulls you forward. The space simply allows the next action. No signal to rush, no reason to pause. The moment hold steady. Keep the pace usable, not fast, not slow, just enough. Keep the pace usable so the work can stay open. Hands begin to move without instruction, keys respond predictably. Time feels cooperative. talkative when treated gently, minute by minute, building shape. Outside keeps its own rhythm, cars passing, people moving, unrelated. Inside stays aligned with the task in front of you only. Focus doesn't tighten, it spreads evenly across the moment without pressure. No mountain doesn't announce itself, it settles quietly once it's there. It's easy to follow. Stays possible. The room feels active even before anything happens. Time already positioned to be used. Return to what you left open, not with urgency, but intention, one step at a time. The list feels manageable because nothing competes for attention at once. Light stays consistent across the desk, never pulling focus away. The air feels clear, enough to think, enough to move without effort. Thoughts arrange themselves into short sequences, action followed by action without commentary. The screen stays calm before notifications arrive. The moment feels protected briefly. The space feels intentional, designed for progress without pressure. No dramatic shift, no sudden drive, just alignment forming. Keep working at this level, not faster, not slower, just steady. Keep working at this level, so momentum can remain. Sounds repeat predictably, creating structure rather than distraction. Time responds by staying smooth. Outside continuing dependently, inside remains focused. The boundary feels clear. Attention stays available, not intense, not fragile, smoothly underway, no longer beginning, no longer waiting, just moving. Settle deeper into the process, let repetition do the work, each action reinforcing the next. The task feels lighter, not because it is simple, but because it is familiar and consistent. The room feels responsive, adjusting subtly as you move within it. The air stays clear, allowing attention to stretch over time. Thoughts no longer interrupt, they participate only when needed, then fade. The moment feels expandable, room to continue without friction, without strain. Time stops feeling linear, it becomes circular, supportive, reliable. No pressure builds, no urgency intrudes. The process sustains itself. No pressure builds, no urgency intrudes. The process sustains itself. Let repetition support you rather than effort holding pace. Naturally, let repetition support you so work can continue. Sounds settle into the background, creating familiarity rather than noise. Time responds by staying steady. Outside remains unrelated, inside remains engaged. The separation feels intentional. Focus stays available, not intense, but consistent enough to last. A mountain becomes internal, something you no longer track, but rely on. The task remains ongoing, the rhythm holds, nothing resolves here. The work stays open with enough energy to remain inside it. Found its balance between motion and rest, between effort and ease. Continue working quietly, not to finish, but to maintain the flow. The task feels stable because the pace is steady. Nothing pulls forward, nothing holds back. focused on what is next rather than what is left behind. The moment feels sustainable, capable of lasting without strain, without urgency. Time no longer distracts, it supports by staying consistent in the background. No push required, no adjustment needed. The rhythm exists already. Let steady effort guide you through the work without pressure. Let steady effort guide you so progress can accumulate. Sounds repeat softly, maintaining structure through familiarity. Time remains usable outside, continues independently, inside stays aligned. The separation feels helpful, focus does not peak, it levels, becoming easier to sustain. Momentum feels embedded into the routine, something you no longer notice but depend on. The task stays open, the rhythm holds, nothing resolves yet. The day continues working alongside you. The day does not end here, it simply shifts from one moment to the next. Let the work keep moving without labeling progress, without evaluating results, just continuation. The task remains open because nothing demands completion yet. The room feels settled into this level of activity. Energy stays even and available. Thoughts remain simple, instruction-based, easy to follow, easy to release. The moment feels durable, able to last without urgency, without fatigue. Time stops being noticeable, it becomes support rather than measure. No finish line appears, no reset required. The rhythm holds, let the pace remain steady without pushing forward. Let motion continue, let the pace remain steady so the work stays open. without emphasis. Time remains usable outside, continues independently. Inside stays aligned. The separation feels intentional. Focus does not peak, it settles, making space for duration. Momentum fades into background, not disappearing, just becoming part of the room. The task remains possible. The rhythm holds. Nothing ends here. The work stays in motion, even as attention drifts naturally. The day continues without asking for permission. Time already moving at a usable speed. Return to the process, not the outcome. Let action lead thought. Minutes behave well when used consistently, adding shape to the day. The room stays supportive, objects stay familiar, nothing demands attention unexpectedly. The air feels stable, allowing focus to stretch over time. Thoughts stay practical, instruction-based, easy to follow, easy to release. The moment feels extendable, room to keep going without forcing anything. No urgency appears, no pressure builds, no finish line in sight, no need for one. The work exists for now. Ooh, ooh, ooh. rather than leads. The task does not conclude, the rhythm remains steady, nothing closes here. The work stays open with enough energy to continue. The room holds steady activity inside noisy, without stillness somewhere in between. Move through the task carefully, not cautiously, just attentively, step by step. Time follows attention rather than the clock responding best to consistency. Light shifts slightly across the desk, never distracting, never fixed. The air supports alertness without pressure, allowing focus to stay open. Thoughts come in fragments, then connect as soon as they are used. The workspace feels intentional, clear enough to remain inside for a while. Nothing feels wasted, nothing feels delayed. No signal to speed up, no need to slow down. The pace stays alive. Maintain the middle ground between effort and ease. Maintain the middle ground so work can continue. be. No urgency forms, no hesitation lingers. The moment aligns cleanly. Move forward carefully, but stay in motion. Let effort remain light. Move forward carefully, so the pace can last. Sounds create structure, predictable, helpful, consistent. Time behaves as expected. Outside moves on, inside stays centered. The task remains clear. Focus doesn't narrow too much, it stays wide enough to breathe. While working, the drive stabilizes, not intense, not fading, just present. The work continues, the pace holds, nothing needs closing. The moment stays usable. Ooh. The room feels accustomed to this level of activity. Nothing reacts, nothing resists. Continue without evaluating each step, each action. Enough on its own, the task no longer asks for motivation. Only attention and time. The desk remains steady, the screen remains calm. The air stays balanced without shift. Thoughts arrive quietly, offering solutions rather than questions. Easy to apply. The moment feels sustained, capable of lasting beyond expectation. Without fatigue, time stops being measured. It becomes movement, something that carries the work forward. No sense of urgency, no sense of delay. The pace remains aligned. Remain inside the process without rushing it. Let focus stay open. Remain inside the process so momentum can last. Sounds repeat predictably, supporting continuity through familiarity. Time stays cooperative. Outside keeps moving, inside stays composed. The difference helps sustain attention. Focus spreads evenly across the task without narrowing. The drive becomes subtle, dependable. Nothing closes yet. The moment stays usable for as long as needed. The morning continues without checking if you are ready. Light already settled across the workspace. Begin with something small. Open the file, read the first line. Nothing complicated yet. Time does not resist today. It moves when you move, pausing only when you pause. The room feels supportive, not quiet but cooperative in a subtle way. Just enough to keep attention present, not sharp, not heavy. Thoughts arrive incomplete, then clarify as soon as you start. You're them. The desk stays familiar, objects stay where they should. Nothing distracts, nothing interrupts. Wide enough to stay inside for a while. No urgency forms, no hesitation lingers. The next step is obvious. Settle into the task without forcing focus. Let attention stay loose. Settle into the so the pace can last. Hands repeat simple motions, keys respond consistently. The rhythm forms on its own. Time adds structure through repetition, minute by minute, holding together. Outside remains unrelated. Cars move, people pass without relevance. Inside stays aligned with what is in front of you only. Focus does not tighten, it spreads evenly across the work without strain. Quietly, almost unnoticed until stopping feels unnecessary. Settle into the task without forcing focus. Let attention stay loose. Settle into the task so the pace can last. Nothing finishes here. Nothing needs to. The work simply continues with enough energy to stay. thinking. Keys click in a steady pattern. Pages turn without resistance. Time responds well when you don't fight it, when you let it carry the pace. Outside keeps going, cars passing, people moving. Inside stays aligned with the task in front of you. Focus doesn't feel intense, it feels available. Easy to step into, easy to stay with. Momentum doesn't arrive loudly, it settles in quietly, then stays close. The task doesn't finish yet, but it doesn't need to. The pace holds, the work stays open. The day has clearly started. The work has already started without any clear beginning. Time is in motion, and you step into it. Return to what was left open, not to fix it, just to continue from where it paused. The task feels lighter now, because momentum exists, even if it is quiet, even if it is subtle. The room feels adjusted to your presence. The desk supports your hands without comment. The air feels steady, enough to stay alert, enough to stay here without drifting. Thoughts come as fragments, then connect once you begin using them one by one. Nothing interrupts the process, nothing accelerates it. The moment feels neutral and workable. Time adds itself up through repetition, through consistency, through motion. No need to reevaluate, no need to reset. The work exists as it is. Stay with the task as it unfolds. Let progress remain quiet. Stay with the task without pushing it forward. Sounds repeat predictably, creating structure rather than distraction. Time behaves well when not questioned. Outside continues independently. Inside stays aligned. The separation feels helpful. Focus does not narrow, it spreads evenly across the work without strain. Momentum feels established, not exciting but reliable, enough to trust. The task remains unfinished but stable. The pace holds, the rhythm stays intact. Nothing needs continuity rather than distraction. Time keeps its structure. Outside